we are back on the screen. Before we start with our today's topic, let me introduce myself. I am an offensive security researcher, an aspiring red teamer, a CTF player, a mentor, and evergreen learner. You can find me on these social medias, and these are my IDs. I would love to get feedback from you, as well as if you need any kind of help in this field, so just hit me up. So without wasting time, let's get into our agenda today. So today we'll be talking about the phases and methodologies of hacking, right? We have 5 phases of hacking. Before we start, one more thing I would like to tell, that today I will be going in very basic way, like layman language. I'm elaborating or explaining each and every phase in such layman language, so that anyone can get the whole idea of these methodologies, right? And side by side, I will be showcasing few tools which we use while interacting with gathering information or scanning part or exploiting part, these phases of hacking. So first is information gathering, second one is scanning, third one is gaining access, and fourth one is maintaining access, and the last one is clearing tracks. So let's get the first thing first, that is information gathering. So what do you mean by information gathering? Simple, right? That is, we gather information about what? About the target which we are targeting, or what we want to be safe, or what we want to to be safe, or to find any kind of weakness. So we will find the information. What kind of information? Like, there are a hell lot of information about target, right? And today's era, today, it's very easy to get information about any particular domain, particular target, particular company, or particular, it's maybe a person or it's maybe company. There are freaking out a lot of information out there on Google, in social medias. So it's easy to get the weak point about compiling those information, right? And information gathering is the most important phase of any ethical hacking, right? Any ethical hacking, audit, maybe pen testing, anything. Because if we have as much as we can, or we gather information about our target, so it will be easy for us to identify the weakness, right? If I know the 1,000 things about target, and some other person knows the 100 things about the target, so what do you think, for whom it will be easy to find the weakness about the target? It's for me, it will be easy to get the weakness about the target. There are 2 kind of information gathering techniques we have. One is passive, second one is active. What is passive information gathering? Passive information gathering is searching Google, social medias, or other database. So just note one thing here, we are not yet targeting or not yet interacting with directly the website or anything. What is our target? We are not directly interacting with that, right? That's why it is known as passive. Let's talk about an example of any company XYZ. We have its domain xyz.com. So if we search on Google, right, it will be popping up the website link. But rather than website, there are a lot of information, like in Google, like in other social medias like Twitter, like Instagram, like Facebook, like any other social media which you can imagine. If they have account, so it will popping up those things. And if we go into their social media accounts, we will be finding enormous amount of information about the target. So those are known as, gathering those information are known as passive information gathering. Clear? And second one is active. Now active means we are actively interacting with the target, actively interacting with the domain, that is xyz.com. That is active information gathering. So in active information gathering, we find it's about a website, what technology it's made of, what kind of what ports are open on it, which server it's hosting, what is its domain, DNS server, that thing, that the internal information we can get, right? So these are the interacting directly, and it's known as active information gathering. So if we can see here in the manual, we have been lot of tools, because I'm using right now it's Kali Linux. So Kali Linux is having pre-installed tools related to the phases of ethical. Various tools are having, like for information gathering, this much of tools we are having, so that these are giving us information about the target. So as well as we can Google it. Google is the Google is the main where we can get or fetch information about anyone's target, right? So now let's get into the second phase. This phase is known as enumeration. Let's take an example for that. See, I know about your target. I know about the target's IP address, or what kind of web server it's using, or anything. Like I came to know about from the first phase, that is information gathering. And what scanning does? Scanning means like scan the target. What we have find on social media or any other from the target itself, what we have found. Now it's time to scan those things. Why we scan? We scan to get the particular weakness what the system is having. Like maybe it's using older version of any service, so that we can exploit as easily. So these are the things, like like most of us are using Windows, right? Windows 10. So you often see they release the updates. What is update for? They update the version number of the services which currently running on your PC, right? So these are the things which we need to update. If the target is not updating, then might be there is a possibility there might be exploit related to the older version. So if some bad guy came to know that yes, this version the company is using, and we have the exploit with us, so easily he can target that company's environment and getting it, will break into the system. And this is the scanning phase. So scanning, there are lots of tools we use, like there is vulnerability scanning, that is mainly we use Nmap. Nmap is a very great tool to use while gathering information, maybe, or maybe like vulnerability analysis, or for web analysis there are lots of tools here. You can see Nikto is the best tool while we use for analysis of web application or web server. So it's very used. I would like to show you, but I think we don't have much time for that. So for near future we will be doing that. So also there is a WP scan, that is word press scan, right? So this is the tools we are having with us. So now it's not our like agenda for today. So now let's get into the third phase, that is gaining access. So now what we have done till now, we have gathered information about the target. Second one is what we did enumerate, that is scan the target, and what from the scanning part we have got to know that this particular service has a exploit. That is, exploit means malicious thing, malicious piece of code which can take an advantage of that older version and can break into the system. So in this phase, in the gaining access phase, we apply exploit on the target so that we can get a foothold on that. For that, it is known as exploitation phase also. So while we are exploiting those targets, exploiting those target, and how we exploit, right? This is the question you like coming into your mind. Now we have exploiting tool. So there are various exploiting, like whether it may be password attacks. For password attacks we have Hydra. For Hydra we can use SSH or the kind of services which remote access services. There is a remote access services, right? SSH. So we can use for that against that brute forcing method. So this is the brute force tools. And there are hashcats also, it's breaking hash, also password, John the Ripper, Medusa. These are the famous tools while we are using for password cracking or password attacks. And wireless attacks, there are lots of AirCrackNG, that is like I love that AirCrackNG. And there are exploitation tools. See, Metasploit framework is one of the well-known exploit while we think of any exploitation. There are greater than 2000 exploiter available on its database. So if we find any older version of any services of any website or any target, so we can easily exploit that also. So these are the tools we use, like Metasploit is the main tool. We can create MSF payload creator, so we can also create manually exploit by creating payload, like we can inject the reverse shell so that at a victim target can listen to our port. So yeah, these are the tools. SQL map, which exploit the SQL injection vulnerability and gain the access of the target's database. So these are the things which we can do in this phase, like gaining access phase. And the fourth one, that is maintaining access. Like we maintain access, right? To maintain access, that means if I have, like I am on this system, like I have exploited some vulnerability and I am right now in someone's system. So what do I want? If I logged off or if I turn off my system, so I will be logged off from that system, right? And to get access again, so we need to exploit again manually, right? So we don't want, what if he change his version number, his services, he update his services, then we cannot exploit again, right? For now we need to use backdoors, rootkits and trojans, right? Backdoors or rootkits or trojans, these help us to maintain our access. For if I have exploited some target and I am on that system, if after that I will apply backdoors on that system, and it will be, it will help me to gain access. It will help me anytime to gain instant access on that system, whether he updated its system or whether not. So this is the dangerous, phase of ethical hacking, or hacking you can say. So here what we do, we apply backdoors, rootkits. Backdoors and rootkits are the few codes of program which control the process of the program, which controls each and every process of the system. So it also hide itself, so that no process, no antivirus, no defender can detect it. Once you are applying it and nobody detects it, you have owned that system forever. Right now, it's time to clearing the evidence which we have left behind. What kind of evidence? Like you can compare it as I know this sensitive term, but it's suppose you murder someone, right? And there should be fingerprinting of yours, right? Whether while you are touching him or while touching the other things on his room or his house. So what forensic department can do? Forensic department can trace your fingerprint, can gain evidence which you have left behind, right? You have, I believe everyone, you have seen someday maybe the CIT, right? So what they do, what they does in cyber forensics team, they gather information from where the murder took place. From there they collect each and everything, small thing, whether it's maybe one hair, it's maybe one fingerprint, or maybe in broken glasses, something. They took it and examine it whether they having the fingerprint of murderer. Similarly, in our system, in a victim system, attacker may while applying or exploiting those things in victim registry file or log files, they have logged attacker's IP address or MAC address, whatever. So they can, if we talk about cyber forensics team, they search for those things, they are having it or not. So for that they hide those fingerprints. The fingerprints is basically the log files details. Like if I am logging into my system, but someone else from some other IP address remotely can logging into my system, if I open my log files, I can see the who is logged into my system. I actually not name, I will not get the name, but I will get the IP address. So if we can trace the IP address, so we can get that thing, if yes, someone was in my system or not. So those things, hacker clear those things, like modify the log files or registry files, the backdoors which can be detected, or he encoded that thing, or he hide somewhat. Okay, and maybe use steganography also to hide those things. Steganography is something like, if there is an image file and I am creating a rootkit or backdoor and I am embedding two things in one, like it's a simple image file you can see, but in background it's running the exploit or running the rootkit or backdoor, so you are not aware of. So this is the method where hacker are just clearing their tracks. And if we sum it up once again, let's look into that. First thing, we gather information about the target, right? The information, it's maybe IP address, so where it's located, its company name, what services they provide, what kind of what are the the customers, what kind of customer they're having, what are their next plans, or what are their achievements in this field, how are they growing, what kind of deals they're making with other companies. These are the things, the information gathering of any target. If I am talking about corporate world or any company related thing, that will be the information which we need or we are interested in. And second is the information of scanning means the scanning of the web server, scanning or enumeration of with what services it's you know what services it's running, what ports it's opening, open ports, what in each and every port, what services, what services it's running, and its version number, where the web server is having, and those things. It's part of scanning. And third is gaining access. In this phase, if we know the vulnerability, we know the exploit, or we know the company is using the older version, then we can get exploit of that. Or maybe we can find new one, we can find the weakness while without exploit, without any applying any exploitation. We can manually find any weakness and we can interact with that company's website or maybe web server, and we can bypass that thing. That also maybe of part of that is also getting access, and it's gaining access. And fourth one is maintaining access. After getting the foothold of on that target's computer, we will be getting we want to be forever on that computer. For that we apply backdoors, rootkits, or maybe Trojan to access eternally, right? So that nobody can nobody can detect us. So that is maintaining access. And clearing tracks is those which we applied while exploiting our target, or any kind of thing, any kind of activity, like maybe we have downloaded some file from target, or we have uploaded few like files, malicious files, so that can be deleted from that system. So yes, these are the phases of ethical hacking. Now the last phases of ethical hacking may be for good hackers, like we are ethical hackers, we hack for good. So we report back to that company that yes sir, these vulnerability, these weaknesses your system are having, and how I am able to exploit your targets, your system. So these are the POC, that is proof of concept. We have to make that if we are reporting something for that. So these are the things which we need to submit after that. And this part mainly comes under the pen testing, right? Pen testing having other other stages. These are the main stages, but in spite of that, we have other stages for reporting stages, as well as before information gathering, we have been contract stage, where we contract with company's authority to like perform test or exploit, right? So these are the things, and I hope you all get to know about the methodologies and the phases of ethical hacking. And thank you for joining us, and once again thank you to Tajwar and whole ethical learner team for inviting me, and thank you to all your audience for your time. And yes, I hope you have grabbed few new things here. And in further, if you want to give me feedback related to this session, you are feel free to connect me on this social media. These are my IDs. And thanks to everyone for joining. That's my time. Okay, bye.